So this month we've been exploring this idea around the courage to prosper, which is an interesting concept in itself because you would think it wouldn't take any courage to prosper. Doesn't everybody want to prosper? Isn't that the default setting? No. You'd think if we were designed differently, that would be true. But what I have discovered is that my outer life is a reflection of my inner life. Have you noticed that? That I am the co-creative being in life that is, from my awareness and understanding and consciousness, a part of a universal process that is bringing forth life according to my belief. So when Jesus walked and was healing and being a blessing in the world, he would say to people, they'd say, heal this. And they'd say, do you believe? According to your belief, let it be so. According to your belief. Now, I believe that in there is a secret to the universe. That it is not according to someone else's belief, but rather according to our own belief that we are bringing forth a reality. So, there is always this temptation when we start talking in these terms to move into metaphysical guilt. Now, if you're not familiar with metaphysical guilt, it's sort of old guilt, but new and improved with better language, right? More hip language, right? You see, because in the olden days, we got to blame everything and everybody else. But then we discovered that we're co-creative beings with a universal intelligence. And so when it's not working, we turn that guilt inward and say, oh, I have to blame myself. So just for the next 15 or so minutes, I would like to let us enter into a guilt-free zone. I'll just set aside. You can pick it up when we're done. But just for a little bit, because this is not the purpose of the conversation. The purpose of the conversation is to realize that we have tremendous and amazing power at our disposal. If it is so that we are co-creative beings with the universe, and if we have created our life up until now out of an unconscious way of being, the good news is moving forward, we can become more conscious, more consciously creative of the life that we want. But what I've discovered is that the first step in this is always out of the commitment. So my talk today is called The Courage to Commit. Now, until one is committed, not a whole lot happens. You notice that? I always like to joke, you can say to somebody, I'd like you to be my spouse for the rest of our life. Now, I'm not all in, but mostly I'm in. I'm kind of in. Nice. I know, exactly, right? Do you want to sign up for that program? No. Commitment says, I will make an effort towards that which I am. In fact, here's a great definition. Commitment is the state of being bound emotionally, intellectually, or both to a particular person or course of action. Commitment starts with a choice, ideally thoughtfully made and aligned with virtuous purposes, and is sustained by dedication and perseverance. Commitment is active. It is expressed and realized in our thoughts and our actions. You see, first we start with the commitment, and then we move into action. I would like it to be otherwise, but it just doesn't seem to be so. Sometimes we wait from on high to be guided. We chant, we own, we do all of our spiritual practices saying, God, move in my life. But until we make a commitment to having our life be different, it can't be different. It continues to look how it looks now. So there is courage that is required, because what is unfortunately necessary is when we make that commitment, we're saying, I am willing to brave this. I am willing to say, life be different for me, which means by its very nature, there's going to be some discomfort. In our stuckness also lives our comfort. That's why we stay there. Don't like it, but at least I know what to expect. Right? When we say, oh, no longer will I live my life this way, I'm going to step outside of my comfort zone, and then we get out there and we're like, well, this is uncomfortable. Yeah, that's why we call it the discomfort zone, right? So the courage is to be willing to surrender to a divine intelligence that is greater than we are and begin to trust that a greater possibility can emerge through us if we are willing to look at life differently. Someone once said brilliantly that your best thinking has got you here. Just saying. Right? So maybe I need to approach it differently. Maybe I have to have a more expanded point of view. Maybe I need to experience myself and life differently. And as I said, so often we want to change the outer. We think that if we change the outer, if we solve the problem, then we'll have a different experience of life. Reading a wonderful book called The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker, subtitled Mastering the Inner Game of Wealth. And what he says is that we operate from a formula, and the formula is this. Ready? P leads to T, leads to F, leads to A, which equals R. You're welcome. So, I didn't even make you buy the book for that. So, what the heck does that mean? It means programming, conditioning leads to thoughts. Our thoughts lead to feelings. Our feelings lead to action, and our action equals results. So the programming of it is what is essential. He talks about it he does these seminars for people wanting to experience the inner game of wealth so that they can have the outer experience of wealth. And he had a man who came to him, one of the top salespeople in his company, making $800,000 a year. Not bad. Almost what Jerry makes, I think. She's a top salesperson too. Right? Not bad. So you think, wow. If I only made $800,000 a year, I could really live life sweetly, right? You with me? So his experience, however, he was just barely getting by. Yeah, wow. What's up with that? So he was struggling with, why is this? I'm making a ton of money. Most people in America would be thrilled to make this kind of money, and yet for some reason I can never seem to pull it together. I make bad investments. I do this thing. And so they began to look at that. And so they looked at, what is the programming? And he said what his mom, as he was growing up, his mom always used to say, rich people are greedy. They make their money off the sweat of the poor. You should have just enough to get by. After that, you're a pig. Thanks, Mom. Right? So the conditioning was this idea, you should only have enough to get by. Anything beyond that, you're a pig. Who wants to be a pig? He didn't. So here he's making tons of money, and the universe was supporting him in his belief system so that he never got too far ahead, so he never had to move into the realm of pigdom. Right? You think, well, that's ridiculous. Which would be a lovely thing to think if we couldn't all see ourselves in the same picture in some way or another. Maybe not that way. So again, a fascinating understanding that it is never, ever the result that changes the situation, but rather being willing to reprogram, rethink, develop consciousness, to look at those limiting beliefs, to look at those limiting ideas, to see what is going on within our own being so that we can first have the shift in our consciousness, then we have a shift in our thoughts, then we have a shift in our feelings, then we move into new action that is reflective of who we are today so that we end up with a different result. He uses a great example. I love it. He says, it's kind of like what we've been trained to do is we go onto our computer and we type the document and we print the document out, and lo and behold, once the document is printed out, Linda Brewer calls you and says, there's a typo. That's what she does. So we take our handy eraser and we go to the document and we scratch out, erase what was there, we write it in new, and then we are amazed that the next time we print the document, the typo's still there. But I fixed it. But you see, when we don't change the source, the results must be the same. How you doing? Are you still staying in the non-guilt zone, or are you moving, wanting to run back there, right? It's not about guilt, it's just recognizing that we are having an opportunity in our experience of life to rethink, to reevaluate, to recommit. And here's the thing about commitment. Until we make that commitment, nothing changes. It's that willingness, and sometimes what we have to do in order to get the ball rolling is we have to make the commitment to form. We have to make the commitment to the outer, to a plan of action. Out of that, what you begin to realize is the inner starts to surface, because the wonderful gift of commitment is when we commit to something, an idea, an intention, a program, then our unhealed stuff has a way of emerging so that it can be released, so that it can be healed. Right? Anybody ever made a commitment and the next day woke up and went, what the heck was I thinking? Don't say it, Shane. Don't say it. It was the smartest decision you ever made. I'm just saying. Oh, gosh. Right? So in the commitment is what happens. But I love these words from Murray, when William Hutchinson Murray, who was preparing to climb Mount Everest, and he talks about this idea of commitment. And it's beautiful and it's profound. You've all heard it. He says, until one is committed, there is hesitancy. The chance to draw back, always ineffectiveness. Concerning all acts of initiative and creation, there is one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans. That the moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. You see, when we make the commitment, the clear intention, then the universe moves as well. It begins to bring into our awareness, into our focus, those things that support us in our commitment. It's as if they were invisible before, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, comes forth new ideas, new possibilities. He says all sorts of things occur to help one that would never otherwise have occurred. A whole stream of events issues from the decision, raising in one's favors all manner of unforeseen incidents and meetings and material assistance, which no person could have dreamed would have come their way. You see, it's this fascinating thing about commitment. When we put it on the line, we say, I will. Not someday I will, not maybe I will, but I will. I'm committed. Then the universe rules and moves forward, and then unexpected good shows up, and all of a sudden a flow happens. Part of that unexpected good is your unhealed stuff. So don't freak. It's all good. It's just sharing with you. Cindy's going to help us with this afternoon. It's going to share with you those limiting beliefs that are holding you where you're listening to mom saying, don't be a pig. Make a lot of money, right? I don't know what to do with that information, right? So understand we're all in this process. The reason I love this power of commitment is because when we are committed, when we are clear, when we make an agreement with our highest good, then the universe flows towards that commitment, flows towards that agreement. The other piece I would have you know is you're always committed to something. Always. And so the question is, will I be committed to my old story? Will I be committed to my limitation? Will I be committed to my littleness? Or am I willing to make a new commitment? a new commitment to a greater possibility, a new commitment to the greater self that is seeking its emergence through me. And when we do that, all manner of things come forth for our highest good. So my invitation to you is make first and foremost that commitment to yourself, to live the larger life, to be that person that is calling from within you to become, to listen to the truth of who you are, to live from an awareness that you are one with the divine and that the divine is seeking its highest self-expression through you. We invite you to make a commitment to that life. We invite you to make a commitment to the center. If it freaks you out, good, you're welcome. You're welcome. Because that's part of the growth. I love what the story Lynn didn't tell you. Can I tell the story? About your first class?
Yeah. We have to hear it now.
Okay, never mind. Yeah, exactly. You've been here 2 weeks, it's okay. Now you're fair game. No, what was shared with me, there's a person who said, I'm going to pay it forward, made available a scholarship for her class. Think about that. Now, Lynn now has been an amazing practitioner in the School of Ministry, is going to touch countless lives because one person made an investment in another person. When we invite you to make a commitment card, we're inviting you to make an investment in your own spiritual growth, but we're really inviting you to make a commitment to a larger process that's unfolding. And so I invite you to do that. I invite you to live your highest possibility. It is a process. If you're not done yet, well, you get to stay with the rest of us that aren't done yet, right? When you get done, you can go live on some cloud somewhere and be exalted. But for the rest of us, we're all in the process. So be here, embrace it, love it, let go of the metaphysical guilt or the old guilt, let go of that which no longer serves you, and embrace the divine possibility that is seeking its emergence. Let us begin together right now as we move into prayer. How good it is to bear witness to this ever-present reality, to this divine essence, this one life that is expressing itself in and through and as all of creation. Throughout the ages, so many names have been given for this being. And yet whatever name is assigned, it is bigger and more than that. So we think of it as the one life, the one power, the one essence, the one God. This divine intelligence that is expressing itself in and through and as all of creation. This divine intelligence which causes all things to be. This is the very source and substance of everything. Scripture writes that closer than our hands and feet, nearer than our breath, is this divine essence. And so we move into that awareness that we are not somehow separate from the divine, but rather the divine is expressing through us, causing our breath, the very source and substance of our life. And because this is so, that which is true of the divine must be true for each one of us. Wholeness, love, beauty, joy, harmony, all good. This is our life. This is our divine inheritance. And so as we move into that conscious awareness of the truth, we allow wholeness to be revealed as health and well-being, as vitality. We allow love to be made manifest in all of our relationships. We consciously choose to forgive ourselves and those who we perceive to have harmed us. We joyously and generously give and graciously receive of the divine bounty. For we know that we are abundant beings right here and now, sourced by the one life that is abundance itself. So how good it is to know, how good it is to be in that living, loving presence that knows the truth, and that truth sets us free. How grateful I am for this inner awareness. And I know even as we join together in consciousness now, a new possibility is emerging. That if there's a burden on your heart, perhaps this is the moment to release it. Perhaps this is the moment to release any doubt, any fear, any limiting belief, to step into the divine magnificence, to live from that state of grace, from that state of awareness, that state of understanding. In this moment, all things are born anew, and we are blessed. And because we are blessed, we extend a blessing to others. We bless this spiritual community, knowing that it is divinely guided and abundantly resourced. We know that even as we find truth, we are a beacon of light in which we can share that truth. We extend this blessing to our brothers and sisters around the planet. We're holding the high watch for a planet at peace. We know that we are only one collective thought away from peace, from understanding. And so we add our voice to the consciousness of wholeness. We extend a blessing to all priests, rabbis, ministers, teachers of every faith, for we know there are many pathways to the divine. We honor and celebrate them all. In this moment, I invite you to breathe deeply into the awareness that this one life is seeking its highest self-expression through you, and as your life. Make it welcome. Make it whole. Make it joyous. So in joy and gratitude, then, I simply release this word into that divine law which knows what to do and how to do it for the highest good of all. And so in joy and gratitude, I simply allow it to be so, as together we say, and so it is.